Okay, let's get right back into it. Again, 5 P's. Pay attention to these throughout your conversations. Principles, Quran and Sunnah. Purpose, why are we talking? Priority, let's pay attention to what's most important first. Proof, let's be on the same page as far as establishing proof and evidence. If you aren't going to provide proof and evidence, then I don't have to provide proof and evidence, even though you should. Even if they don't provide proof and evidence, if you have proof and evidence, you should provide it. But just keep this in mind. If they have shown that they are a person that does not use proof and evidence, that they do not value proof and evidence, and this is what most of these people in the cults are, don't put so much pressure on yourself or let them put pressure on you to provide all this proof. Like we've been doing this for years. So there's run into people that, they want you to search this up, provide this, provide that, and you provide it to them, and it doesn't change anything. So what I like to do when people ask for proof is say, okay, after I provide you the proof, then what? Because if the proof and evidence isn't going to make you change anything, there's no reason why I should spend all this time gathering all this proof, getting links to videos given to you, looking up the lectures and the discourses and providing you with the quotes. It's all there, but you do the research. And I found out also, like, when you direct people to do the research themselves, they're more apt to actually accept the information versus you telling them the same thing. Okay. And also parlay. Remember, make sure it's a two-way street when you're engaging with these people. And remember the various methodologies. Stick with the Quran and Sunnah. Make sure you use it in common sense. You can use quotes of the sheikhs that they accept, and you can also use the contradictions of their own cult leader. In this context, the cult leader of Mubarak Jelani. Be patient. They're going to insult you. They're going to push your buttons. Be patient. Just be patient with it. Focus on the topics that you're talking about. Don't let them jump all over the place. Remember your position of leverage, that you are coming from the Quran and Sunnah, which is a higher station from where they're coming from, which is coming from what their sheikh said or their own emotions. And remember, be clear and direct with what you're dealing with the people. Okay, so dawah, and this is a topic that comes up with a lot of cult members, is they don't believe that you're allowed to give dawah to Muslims, that you're not allowed to call Muslims to the correct path, and they'll say things like, you should. There's Christians and Jews and other non-Muslims out there. You should be giving dawah to them. Or they'll even make it more personal, like, oh, you got non-Muslim family members. Why aren't you focusing on them? Why are you talking about the Jamaat? They'll say these types of things. Okay, so just know that you're allowed to give dawah to whoever you can within your own capacity, right? And typically, like, for instance, when people come to me specifically and say, why don't you go give dawah to the non-Muslims and the Christians? And I say, well, there's lots of people out there giving dawah to non-Muslims and Christians, and I could engage in that, but I know the cult of TMOA, and I know I have experience with Muslim cults, so that's where I'm going to focus my dawah on. And specifically, this individual said you can't give dawah to Muslims, which is just absolutely false and wrong. And this is where they start showing their actual knowledge of Islam. If they don't know these, like, I'd like to say basic things, but they're not really basic things. But it's basic things if you actually study Islam, if you actually become a student of knowledge and look into these things. You can give dawah to Muslims and you can give dawah to non-Muslims. All dawah means is calling. You're calling people to what is correct. When you're giving a class to Muslims, when you're teaching how to make salat correctly, that is a form of dawah. Okay. He says, where is the justice? He says, and this is basically like he kept making these claims without any support or proof, and every time that we asked him for support or proof, he was debunked. But he kept saying that we're violating people's rights, we're backbiting, we're slandering, and he asked, what are you calling the people to? And we said, we're calling them away from shirk. And then he accused us of calling people to shirk. And then he straight up said that we're heretics. Basically, a heretic is someone that's outside the fold of Islam, or a deviant, right? Then he said that we're all blasphemous because we're involved in backbiting, which backbiting is a sin, but it's not blasphemy. it'd be blasphemy to like backbite Prophet Muhammad sallallahu or something like that. But just general backbiting, that's, you know, not to make light of that. That's like a big sin. But it's not blasphemous. Then, you know, when I checked them and said, you know, you've insulted me, you've tried to insult me multiple times during this conversation, you know, and I haven't insulted you once. And he said, you've insulted me. He kept saying, you insulted me a whole bunch of times. And I was like, okay. And every time they say these generic phrases like, you guys are slandering everybody, you guys are backbiting, and he said, okay, give me one example, right? You guys are violating the Quran and Sunnah. Okay, give me an example. Then the next line they'll say is, there's a whole bunch of examples. Okay, give me one. And this is where they'll try to pivot and just go on to another topic without answering your question. Always remember your question and don't. It's hard because when they go on their next rant, it'll be tempting to engage in the topic of their next rant because they'll say something else that's false. This is where like patience comes in, and you have to be focused, focused, right? Go back to that question that they refuse to answer, because that's once they refuse to answer a question, that's a slight door inside to their minds to get them to see the contradiction, right? Because when they avoid something, that's their defense mechanism saying, I need to avoid this, so let's talk about something else. No. You went on your 5-minute rant. Remember that question? I want you to answer my question first. Give me one example of how I insulted you. And then his example of how I insulted him was, you insulted me by saying Mubarak Jelani teaches shirk. That's my sheikh. And there I said, well, I'm sorry for you know, being offended or me insulting you by telling you I think your sheikh teaches shirk. So it's like, I can't control you be offended by what I say about somebody else, right? Okay. So then they, you know, he said, you sound like a Salafi brother. This is a common tactic, and the best way is to just ignore this dumb tactic. They'll say you're a Salafi, they'll say you're a Wahhabi, and the best response really is, what I found with doing this, to say no. Just say no, I'm a Sufi. Just say no, I'm a Sufi. I'm a real Sufi, not the fake Sufi like Mubarak Jelani is, right? Or not the fake Sufi like your sheikh is. I'm a real Sufi, you know, because these are just tactics. They want to get you into this realm of Sufi versus Salafi or Sufi versus Wahhabi and put you in this little box so that they can say, oh yeah, they said they're Salafi. They said, you know, it's just a dumb tactic. And for their perspective, they're actually trying to insult you, because for them that's an insult, saying someone's a Salafi, right? So that's what he tried, that tactic as well. And then he said that we got a gang mentality, you know, because they really, you know, these people, when you actually start busting them down on what their issues are and the contradictions, it's natural. They feel attacked. They really do feel attacked, and you have to recognize that. So he probably does feel like, you know, we're a gang, we're ganging up on him, you know, he's feeling attacked, but really, no one was attacking him, no one was insulting him. All we are doing is pointing out very clearly, remember, clarity, clearly and directly, how he was wrong and completely wrong. And, you know, they feel attacked by that. The same thing on our show. Remember, he was saying our show is inciting violence and all these different things, and we're attacking different people. All we do on our show is state the facts. State the facts. That's it. Remember, the facts does not care about people's feelings or emotions. The facts are the facts. I got time to squeeze another one real quick. Oh no, this is going to be a longer topic, so I'm going to stop this video here, and we'll get into the halala and the meat of different things, because this is a good one, and I'll get into this in the next video, inshallah.